Good morning students, welcome back to the class 11. Today we are going with the lecture number 23. As we have started our topic as a statutory corporation, statutory means permitted. Permitted in the sense the parliament gives a special permission to them to start the public enterprise and work accordingly. Here no government interference is added. Here finance has been created by government itself, but they are not interfering in day-to-day activities. Now in statutory corporation we will have a further concept related to features, merits, demerits. Now we will go one by one. The topic is little bit lengthy. Then we will continue with the topic as government, company, features, merits and demerits, and then we will cover changes in roles in public sector. Today we will complete our chapter by itself, because it is not that much difficult to understand, but we have to be very conscious with the terms which I am telling to you. Now, we are talking about features. In that, features has a formation. Formation title means to start up. Here, a special permission has been provided by the parliament to start the organization. They give power and privilege to statutory corporation. Here, if you want to start as a public enterprise, the government provides you the permission to start up with a special act of parliament. So, the organization is easily formed by the help of government. Now, second point is ownership. The second point is ownership. The ownership, who handles this? This handles by the government itself, because government is a responsible one to make a financially strong to you. At the same time, state government also bear the losses and earns profit. Here, the funds are being raised from the public also, but the losses are being bared by the state or government because they are financially promoting you. Next part is cooperative existence. It is like a perpetual succession. Here, company once started, then if someone gets died, the government gets changed, whatever happens, organization does not get affected. They can complain against certain groups, or they can complain from other group of organizations. So here it has a common seal related to the topics. Now, financial autonomy. In this financial autonomy, the government owns the funds by borrowing from an independent source. Government gives borrowing loans to the particular organization who are having a special permission from the organization. Here they can sell, they can earn revenue by selling goods and services. Next point is accounting and audit process. Here many organizations who are having a statutory corporation organization, here the accounting and audit process is under the control of government. Government employees comes here and work according to that terms of accounting and audit process. They follow all the rules and regulations related to this. Next point is staff and terms and services. If we are talking about terms and services, here certain rules and regulations which are being formed by the government, it is not applicable that much, but organization can create their own rules and regulations to make better improvement on the department or on the organization. Here the board of directors who are being appointed by the government, they are making certain policies which makes organization better and better. Now we are going with the next topic is merits. If we are talking about merits, we are having 4 points over here. One is operational flexibility, second is freedom of interference, autonomy setup, and facility of economical growth. Here, first point says that operational flexibility. If we are talking about operational flexibility, here the organization can take high risk and make more benefits of it. Here government doesn't control or doesn't interfere in the decision making, because this organization has a special permission from the parliament. Next part is freedom from interference. Here, government doesn't include money from the central budget. They invest amount apart from budget. So therefore, government doesn't interfere in the organization operations. They do not ask for incomes and payments received or balance sheet. Here, next part is autonomous setup. If we are talking about autonomous setup, then statutory corporation creates their own rules and regulations, policies, procedures to work on according to the Act. They follow the guidelines of government rules and regulations, terms and conditions, but they create their own by adding certain points in it. Now, next point is facilitates economic growth. Here we are talking about economical growth. So every organization makes an impact related to economic growth. Economic growth is here as an economic development. It has the power of government and combination of individual private enterprise and statutory corporations. They are more accurate towards making funds and making more impact on the organization. Next part is theoretical autonomy. Here it is said that in reality statutory corporation enjoys flexibility, no doubt, but it is related to many rules and regulations. They have to follow certain rules and regulations which cannot be denied by the organization which is framed by the government. Next part is government interference. Here still we are discussing about freedom of interference, but here still government makes an impact by interfering in the major decisions related to fund. Why they are interfering? Because they are having a combination of both public and private. So here government still interferes because they are very much conscious related to funds. Next part is undesirable practice. Here undesirable practice means if something goes wrong, then organization faces huge problems. They cannot deal with the public itself. So your public money can be corrupted. There may be a chance that public's money can be converted into losses. There may be a chance because many people make a fraud shares and they bring the investment by the particular name and they make it sure that the money is not being used properly. So they can go for unfair practices by making a company's name as a highlight part. Now next part is delay in action. If we are talking about delay in action, here certain decisions which are to be taken related to money has been given importance over here. But some decisions which cannot be taken by the organization, they need to wait for the particular ministry or particular group to make a decision. That's why it is going with a delay in action. So we have seen a concept of statutory corporation in features, in terms of features, merits and demerits. Now we are going with the new topic considered as government company. What is government company here? Government company which are being registered according to the Companies Act 2013. Companies Act 2013 or previous any act which is like 1956. If the government organization or government company is registered under the Companies Act 2013 or 1956, this is considered as government organization. Government organization, in this, government has 51% of shareholding. That's why it is considered as government company. Here, private sectors or public sector has the less number of shares. Here, management is been under the control of government because they are having 51% of shares. They are taking huge decisions related to improve the organization goals. So here government makes the decision because they are having highest number of votes, highest number of shares, and highest number of shares they are having 51% shareholding. So this is the short summary of government company. Government company is registered according to Companies Act 2013. A government company is controlled, managed by the government itself because they are having 51% shares in the company. So all the provisions, all the rules and regulations, they are being followed by the government guidelines. Here the funds are being used by the government itself. What about the properties which are being purchased here? So government companies government companies purchase their assets and liability in the name of President of India. If they want to purchase any land, if they want to purchase any share, if they want to purchase any security, it has to be in the name of President of India. If any debt occurs, the President's name is being showcased in that particular cases. So here the point which has to be covered, it has been said to you that everything which is being purchased in the name of President of India. Here government is having a maximum number of shares, that's why this is considered as government company. Now we are going with the features. We are having 6 features over here. It is incorporation, separate legal entity, management, governed by provisions of memorandum of association and article of association, accounting and audit process and finance. These topics are being taught in detail one by one. So here we go with the features. The first feature is incorporation. Incorporation means the business has to be started with the incorporation certificate. Then they have gone with the subscription capital and then commencement of business. So you have studied that particular process, how the organization is formed in public. Now incorporation means they has to be registered according to the Companies Act 2013. They have to follow all the procedures, rules and regulations related to that Companies Act 2013. Here the funds are being raised from the public also and government also. So incorporation is very easy because the government invests money in it and the procedures of that particular organization is limited. Now separate legal entity. Here it is again aimed as a perpetual succession. Separate legal entity means the company can complain against the organization or they can get complained because of not having a proper work with it. So they can sue and complain against and get from. So this organization is ultimately having its own name. Government companies are related to limited, not private limited but limited. And if something goes wrong, they can go to court according to the owners or own name of a company. Now, management. What is about management? Here, government manages according to the Companies Act 2013 because it is a public limited company. All the decisions, all the management, all the controlling is conducted by the government officials. What about the governed by the provision of memorandum and article of association? As you know that memorandum of association is an rules and regulations, terms and conditions for the longer period of time for the organization. Once it is been made, it cannot be changed. What about article of association? It is an for a short period of time, it can be changed according to the situation. So what organization can do? Government organization provides memorandum of association and article of association which are being guidelines by the government and it has to be followed according to that only. Now what about audit and accounting process? Here government official comes and check all the related accounting documents. Here the appointment of an auditor or accountant is done by the central government and in annual report they present act to the state legislative. Whatever has been done in the government company, whether it is loss, whether it is profit, it has been shown to the state legislative. What about finance? Finance are being taken with the help of government and raised by the certain shareholders who are the private shareholders. They are investing in the market, in the government company so that the organization grows smoothly. Here funds are being obtained from the government shareholding and private shareholders who who are known as individual shareholders, they are providing money to the organization. Government company gets funds from the private sector also. Private investor, I would say. Now we are going to the merits and then demerits. Now we are going with the merits of the government company. First is easy formation. As we are under the guidelines of Companies Act 2019, your organization gets required permission from the parliament and they can start their organization. Now what about independent status? Your government company has a separate legal entity. So the government is, apart from this, government is not interfering day-to-day transactions, but they are having certain control over it. Day-to-day transactions are being taken care by the board of directors. So it is considered as independent status. Next part is operational autonomy. What about operational autonomy? Operational autonomy is all department takes decision and make an action according to the business procedure. Your government and the management takes decision for the benefits of the organization. Next part is prevailing from unhealthy business practice. Now we are going with the last point as merits. In that it has been said that the services and goods are being sold at the reasonable price. There should not be a malpractices over here. So government organization provides the better environment and healthy business practices. Here as we can say, here there is no chance of unhealthy business practices, or we can say that they do not sell the goods at the higher price for making only benefits to the organization. So they can sell their product at reasonable price. The quality of goods and services should be healthy and genuine for the common people. Now next topic is demerits. We are talking about demerits in that freedom in name. As government company it is, so here the shareholders only enjoy the name of the organization, but all the decisions, all the rules and regulations which are being formed by Companies Act 2013 are controlled and managed by the government itself. Now next part is lack of accountability. Accountability means responsibilities. If we are talking about responsibilities, here no one is accepting what they have done. Here financially government supports the organization, but they are not answerable to the parliament directly because they are not taking responsibilities towards the decisions which they have taken. Next part is defeated on the main purpose. The last topic of government company, in this it has been said that the government is a sole shareholder who has management, administration and everything which are in the hand of government, but the main purpose is to make the organization more accurate, but they are not making accurate and they get defeated. They do not take any decisions which are to be taken on the right time. That's why they face huge problems and they make losses and they get defeated on the main purpose. The main purpose is to make the organization growing, but they delay the decision. Because of that decision, they go for downfall. They go downfall. Now we are going with the topic known as changing of role of public sector. As we have completed now all the 4 topics, this is the 4th topic we are going with that. We will go one by one with this all the topics. This topic is little bit lengthy, but I am making sure that it should be understood very clearly. Now we are going with the development of infrastructure, then regional balance, economy of scale, check over concentration of economic power, then import substitute, government policies towards public sector since 1991. These 6 topics are to be studied one by one. So let's begin with the changing role of public sector. Why these changes has been occurred? as you know that there was a huge problem related to poverty, unemployment, literacy rate was very high, and the regional imbalance was been there for economic growth. So here private sector was been unwilling to invest in the sectors of all sectors, because here public organization or government has huge rules and regulations related to the private organization. So private organization doesn't want to enter in the any field of market, so that they will have to follow rules and regulations in it. Now we are on to the first point as development of infrastructure. Infrastructure not only means by developing of roads and construction. No, here development of in the infrastructure means banking, mode of transportation, communication facilities, etc. are being considered as an infrastructure. In this infrastructure, we have to be making sure that the poor infrastructure facilities which are being hampered by the economic growth, which is hampering economic growth, it has to be making rapidly soundable, and it has to be making impactable. Here it has been said that the development of infrastructure which has been lacking from the facilities, it has to improve as a facility maker. Now here the private sector does not have an intention to start the organizations because of rules and regulations and control of government to the private sector. We are going with the next point is regional balance. If we are talking about regional balance, here backward regions has a lack of facilities of infrastructure, in that private sector was not been ready to invest money or investment. They do not do investment to improve the infrastructure of a backward area. If we can say that in backward area no one wants to start that organization because there was no facilities in backward area. They want to start their industries only and only in the urban areas. That's why the huge problems were being occurred over here. So government has a certain responsibility to make a change in it, but government doesn't want to make the balance in it. Then later on they have made a balance by making proper policies for the backward industry. They have provided subsidy systems. They have given concessions to the organization. So they have encouraged also that organization to make an organization and give an employment to the backward area. But still there was a problem of economic development, because in India majority of people of that time were illiterate. They were not educated as per the requirement. Next part is economic scale. If we are talking about economic scale here, economic scale means establishing a large industry in the field of power planting, then natural gases, primary industries, etc. Here the huge investment was being required in economic scale. In economic of scale, there is only possibility when the mass production was being conducted by the government, then only the organization gets enlarged. Point number 4, check over concentration of economic power. In this part, it has been said that many private sectors have invested in those industries which are very few and very expensive, so that they can control over the monopoly of the market of the same product where no alternative options are available. They can make huge profit because of monopoly. So that because of that, private organizations only invest on those industries which are having a lack of problems related to infrastructure. As a result, public ownership and control are in large industries, and incomes and benefits of shares are large of numbers of employees and workers. Here it has been said that the public owners and the control of large scale business enterprise has given the benefits of an income and share of large workers and employees in the organization. So they have made an alternative options over here by making a private or public organization to make a competition over the private sector. Now we are going with the import substitute. As you know that before 1991, huge imports were being occurred. Many products which are being produced in the foreign country were being brought out to the India sector. So what happens here, that Indian government or private sector and public sector both have made a substitute to make a replacement of import of substitutes. As you know that many products which are being like technology, heavy machineries which are being brought from foreign countries to India to make a proper establishment of it. But in India, public sector has made an efforts to make a replacement to an import of subsidy. Here they have made a heavy machineries with the cheaper rate so that Indian organizations can purchase it. Next part is government policy towards public sector since 1991. In this, many changes are being occurred as public sector unit has to reduce all the controllings over the organization. They have made a huge close down process for public sector, and then they have made a lowest percentage of investment in the organization. They have given all the protection of interest to the workers itself. They have made huge changes after 1991. They have given all the rights, promotion and independent business to the private sector. As we have completed our chapter, notes will be provided sooner today itself. That's it for today. Thank you.